Many epic poets had epic lives, so I made the second video to talk about 4 more authors who had lives as interesting as their works, and we will start with Alonso de Ercilla, the author of the epic poem La Araucana. He was born in 1533 in Madrid. He had a very rigorous education, but in 1555 he went to the New World, to Chile, during the wars against the Araucania Indians, the wars that inspired his poem La Araucana. Alonso had to write his poems between battles, and many times without the proper material, without paper. Sometimes, for example, he had to write in pieces of leather that couldn't even fit 6 verses. But even in those difficult conditions, he proved himself very talented, as he wrote in the Octava Real. He finished the poem in 1563, when he returned to Spain, but he divided the poem in 3 parts, publishing the first in 1569, the second part in 78, and the third one in 89. Even Miguel de Cervantes, of whom I spoke about in my last video, said in his Don Quixote that La Araucana was between the best heroic poems. Now, let us talk about a very important writer from the 20th century, John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, the famous writer of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, the man who wrote about Middle-earth with its hobbits, dragons, dwarves, and elves. His biography is also very interesting. He was actually born in South Africa in 1892, son of Arthur Tolkien and Mabel Suffield Tolkien. He lived there until his father died in 1896, and then him, his mother, and his brother moved to England. After his mother converted from the Anglican Church to the Roman Church, Tolkien became a zealous Catholic. He also started studying in Exeter College in Oxford and became interested in philology and Old Norse legends. In 1904, when his mother died, he and his brother started being educated by a Jesuit priest, Francis Xavier Morgan, whom Tolkien called his second father. Now, in 1914, he enlisted for the Lancashire Fusiliers as the First World War started. He went to the Battle of Somme, where he saw the horrors of war, the bodies, the sickness, and this ended up having a big impact on him and in his works. After serving in the war, Tolkien returned to England, continuing his studies in the University of Leeds and writing his famous work, The Hobbit. Sometime after, he also wrote The Lord of the Rings and other works. Now, another important author of the 20th century was a Frenchman called Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who wrote The Little Prince. He was born in Lyon, in France, in 1900. He was the third son of the Count of Saint-Exupéry and the Countess Marie Fascolombe, who were descendants from the impoverished aristocracy. He studied in the Jesuit College of Notre-Dame de Sainte-Croix and in the Marianist College of Fribourg. In 1921, he entered the army in the Strasbourg Aviation Regiment, and he became a pilot. It was also in this period that he published his first book, The Aviator. He flew in various missions, going to Africa, South America, etc. He worked also as a reporter in Paris, but when the German Reich invaded France, he had to escape to the United States of America, where he wrote a letter to a hostage. And it was in this period that he, who until this point wrote mainly about planes, started to write for children. In 1943, he wrote his most famous book, The Little Prince, but unfortunately, soon after, he returned to serve the French army, and in a mission of reconnaissance, he was shot by a German plane and fell in the ocean in 31 of July 1944. His body was never found, but in 2004, his plane was found. He was also married to the writer Consuelo de Saint-Exupéry, who he met in Buenos Aires in 1931. So we can see in those 3 biographies and in the 4 of the previous video that many amazing writers had amazing stories that had an impact in their works. And if you like those and want to see more about history, like and subscribe. This was Historiae Moriae, and I hope to see you in the next video.